All right, let's dive in. If you're in IT, you know the pain of trying to manage YouTube access. It feels like a constant battle, right? Manual requests, security worries, it's a mess. Today, we're going to build a playbook to automate the whole thing. We're talking turning chaos into control, using the tools you probably already have.
So, does this whole scene sound familiar? You've got this chaotic mix of rules for different people, your inbox is flooded with constant requests to allow or block some channel, and you've got this nagging worry about security gaps? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Managing YouTube access can feel like a never-ending headache, but there is a much, much smarter way to do it.
And that solution is something called a dynamic group. Honestly, its power is in just how simple it is. The best way to think about it is like a smart playlist for your company. You don't drag and drop people into it. Nope. You just set a rule like, hey, put all employees from the marketing department in here, and the group manages itself forever. It's so elegant, super efficient, and it's the key to this entire strategy.
Okay, so the first big decision we've got to make is our strategy. How are we going to target these rules? Are we going to apply them to the physical devices themselves, the laptops and phones, or are we going to aim for the actual people using them? Let's break down why that choice matters.
So on one side, you have device groups. These are fantastic when you want to target the hardware. Think about pushing out a specific browser setting to every single corporate PC. Makes sense, right? But on the other side, you've got user groups which target the individual person. And for stuff like YouTube access, this is almost always the way to go. Why? Well, because access should be tied to a person's role, not just whatever random machine they happen to be logged into that day.
Now, even though the user-based way is usually what we recommend for YouTube, there are definitely times when targeting the device itself is the right move. So let's take a quick look at that strategy first.
Okay, don't let this syntax scare you. It looks like code, but it's really just a simple instruction. All this rule is saying is, hey, find every single device in our entire company whose operating system is Windows. It's a really broad but powerful way to just scoop up all of your PCs in one go.
So when would you use a rule that's this wide? Well, it's perfect for those big foundational policies. Things like rolling out a baseline web content filter, or making sure all your company PCs have the same browser settings, or applying a universal security policy with Microsoft Defender. It's really all about setting a standard for your hardware.
Okay, so that first rule was kind of like using a sledgehammer. In a real-world enterprise setup, we can be way more precise. A common best practice is to only apply the really strict rules to devices the company actually owns.
And here's how we do it. It's simple. We just take that first rule and we add one more condition with an and. So now the group only includes devices that are both running Windows and are officially tagged as company-owned. This one little addition gives us so much more control, and it makes sure we're not accidentally pushing corporate policies to someone's personal laptop.
All right, let's pivot to the strategy that we really recommend for this job, the user-based approach. The key thing to remember is that controlling YouTube isn't really about the machine. It's about the person and what they need to do for their job.
I know. At first glance, this syntax looks a little intimidating, but the logic behind it is actually pretty clever. This rule is just asking one simple question. Does this user have any kind of software license assigned to them? If the answer is yes, boom, they're in the group. It's a fantastic, automated way to create a group of every single active, legitimate user in your entire system.
And this kind of catch-all user group is absolutely perfect for applying a baseline YouTube policy to everyone in the company. For instance, you could use this group to set a default restricted mode for all users. It works seamlessly with tools like Defender's web content filtering.
But here's where it gets really powerful, just how specific you can be. What if you want to give the marketing team, or maybe the training department, more flexible YouTube access? Well, it's as simple as this rule right here. You just tell it the department name, and bam, you instantly have a dynamic group just for them. This kind of targeted control is what makes the whole system so incredibly effective.
Okay, so we've built our smart, self-updating groups. We're all done, right? Well, not quite. This next part is the real aha moment. It's the critical link that makes this whole system actually do something.
And here it is. This might be the most important fact in this entire explainer. A dynamic group, all by itself, does absolutely nothing. That's right. It's just a list. It doesn't become powerful until you take that next crucial step. It's really just a simple two-step process. First, in step 1, you build the group over in Microsoft Entra ID. That's your who. Then, in step 2, you hop over to Microsoft Intune and you assign a policy to that group. That's your what. So you see,
The group is the target, the policy is the action. They have to work together.
So what kind of policies are we talking about here? Well, you'd use things like web protection or maybe some browser-specific configuration profiles. Then you just point those policies at the key YouTube domains. The main site, the mobile version, the short links, and you even have to get the domain that actually serves up the video content.
So, we've covered the strategy and the mechanics of how it all works. Now let's wrap this up with some pro-level tips to make sure that when you roll this out, it's smooth, it's scalable, and it's super easy to manage for the long haul.
First things first, you have to stay organized. Please use a clear, standardized naming convention for your groups. Something like this makes it instantly obvious what each group is for. Is it for Windows devices, or is it for users? Is it for YouTube, or something else? Trust me, this will save you so many headaches down the road.
Look, if you only remember one thing from our time together, let it be this. For controlling access to a service like YouTube, which is all about the user, targeting user groups is the most logical, the most effective, and the most scalable way to do it. Period.
And here are your final action items. Save those device groups for policies that are truly about the device itself. And maybe most importantly, never ever roll out a new rule to your entire company all at once. Always, and I mean always, test it with a small pilot group of users first. Make sure everything works exactly the way you expect before you go big.
So there you have it. We've just turned a manual, chaotic process into an elegant, automated system. That's really the power of this, right? You set a rule once, and you let the system do the heavy lifting from now on. So the real question to leave you with is this. Now that you know how to automate access control, what other parts of your job, from deploying software to setting security policies, could you totally transform with this exact same dynamic approach?